this particular presentation, the learning objectives that we are hoping to achieve for you while we're in this presentation is to be able to define human performance improvement model, to recognize a human performance improvement model through the CRA management model, and to apply the model into current practice, a proactive CRA management, if you will, and then to apply the model into current practice, managing CRA performance issues. This presentation is geared towards CRA managers, but also towards lead CRAs or project managers, or even managers if you manage various vendor functions. You basically manage, not only are you managing CRAs, but sometimes you're even asked to manage the sites as well. CRAs have a variety of site environments that they're exposed to, and they are required to manage those sites. Some environments can be extremely busy, and some can even be hostile. But CRAs have to know how best to get the job done and how best to establish those relationships that will enable the job to be done well. As leads or as managers of CRAs, it's your job to support them. And we help them to continually identify what is the best course of action for them to take when they encounter problems. A second point here is that performance management and improvement is a science. It's not considered an inherent trait. So we can't just go out there and tell someone to fix the problem. We have to help them work through the process, and that's what it is. It is a process of identifying the issues. We know that monitoring is required activity by the FDA for FDA-regulated research, and we know that from 21 CFR Part 312.50 for drugs and 21 CFR 812.40 for device. We also know that adequate monitoring directly correlates with project risk management, financial, and regulatory, that if we have poor monitoring, it's going to jeopardize the entire project. If our monitoring is inadequate, then the data may be in jeopardy and our IND submissions might not actually be approved. This could require us to resubmit our entire application. It may also cause us to miss out on our timelines. It might cause us to remonitor a particular site or a trial, or the results could be found in an audit. Perhaps the monitor didn't collect all the required data or manage the site appropriately, which could lead to poor enrollment. It's all of these things that can ultimately affect our clinical trials negatively. And therefore, it's the sponsor's effective management of CRA's performance that's essential, and promoting improvement where gaps have been identified that impact goals and overall and individual monitoring is very important. Performance management and improvement is a science. I just said that, and it involves logical processes and applications. It's something that requires consideration from each member on the team and think about what motivates them, or understanding what challenges individuals could be facing. CRAs were actually hired for a specific role, and we certainly have expectations regarding what their capabilities and skills are. However, we also need to assess whether we have provided the right environment where they can actually succeed. Human performance improvement is a science that can be directly applied to the management of CRAs to promote performance improvement, and performance managers need those skills. So this is just a side note. There is another course that builds on the concept that we're going to talk about today, and it is entitled CRA Site Performance Improvement Monitoring Model. We're going to touch on some of the elements that are within that presentation, but I wanted to provide that awareness to you about this particular course. If it's something that you would like to pursue, you can certainly obtain this through Barnett. So what is the cost of poor performance? What's the cost of poor monitoring in a clinical development project? Well, we know it can jeopardize the data, and we know it can jeopardize subject safety. And the ultimate cost might be the result of an audit that causes us to redo the study or lose our application or site closure. These are significant impacts of poor performance, which could also result in tremendous financial penalties. It will always take less time and be less expensive for companies to be proactive to the issues of poor performance compared to reacting to the outcomes of poor performance or monitoring. And I think that's what we're trying to stress here throughout this presentation, of being proactive as well as reactive. And we're hoping that by the end of this presentation that understanding seems a bit clearer and a little more realistic. So if you've ever measured how much time you spend solving a problem rather than preventing it regarding CRA performance, then you know that it can take a lot of time. For example, poor report writing. There might be a lack of detail that's really unclear as to what's actually happening at a site. So as the manager, you're having difficulty understanding really what's going on there.